Life is burning you out. Self-improvement is the antidote. But you don't have time for 90-minute workouts 6 days a week, every single week. You just want to slim down and put on some muscle so you could look and feel the best you've ever been, but time is your bottleneck. In this video, I'm going to show you the fastest and most time-effective methods to get jacked while losing body fat without living in the gym anymore. And if you're just starting out but want the most digestible blueprint possible so you could lose 25 pounds of fat while gaining up to 10 pounds of muscle in the next 90 days, I've put together a body recomposition master guide you can grab for free with the link in the description below. The most important change you could make to your workout plan without compromising quality is to start doing myo reps. If implemented correctly, you'll cut your workout time in half, but the intensity of your training will still be high enough to produce the stimulus needed to grow your muscles. I would recommend this strategy the most in the event that you want to keep a training schedule of 4 to 5 days per week, but want to reduce the time spent in the gym. Because let's be real, even a 30-minute workout can take up to 60 to 90 minutes of your day, and sometimes more if you include travel time, preparation time. It can be even longer if your rest time in between sets isn't monitored. And as helpful as myo reps are, they won't save you the maximum amount of time if the rest of your gym schedule isn't accounted for. So before I get into the meat of what myo reps are and why they work, I'm going to break down some additional ways we can optimize your gym schedule so you could save the most amount of time possible. To save time on getting ready for the gym, always keep your gym bag pre-packed and ready to go with any provisions you could possibly need at any time, such as water, pre, intra, or post-workout nutrition, and any gear needed to perform your workouts. No pun intended. This pairs super well with the idea of heading straight to the gym before or after work. That way you don't need to stop at home in order to get ready, which can add an additional hour or two to your time dedicated to fitness without contributing to the process of making gains. So now that you've optimized your schedule and are always ready to work out when you have an opening, you can now benefit even further from the time you'll save performing myo reps. Here's the thing, traditional sets take forever. You do 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps with 2 to 3 minutes of rest between each set. That's 6 to 10 minutes per exercise. And if you multiply that by 8 to 10 exercises, you're looking at easily a 90-minute and beyond workout. Most busy professionals don't even have 90 minutes 4 to 5 days per week. And that's where myo reps come in. Myo reps are a rest pause training technique where you perform an initial set to failure, or at most 1 rep short, and then take short 5 to 6 second rest periods between these mini sets until you've performed a total of 5 to 6 sets. I'll give you an example using a machine bicep curl. I would go ahead and perform a set with my working weight and take it to all-out failure. Then I would rest for about 5 to 6 seconds and perform as many reps as I possibly could. This usually starts between 2 to 3, and by the 5th mini set, I'm struggling to get even 1 rep, which is a great sign because it means I gave my muscles the necessary challenge needed to stimulate a growth response. You get the same muscle building stimulus in that 3 to 4 minutes that would normally take 8 to 10 minutes with traditional sets and rest times. And you shouldn't use myo reps for every exercise. Save them for movements with limited setup, such as bicep curls, tricep extensions, lateral raises, leg extensions, or hamstring curls, and you could still use them for certain compound movements, such as machine chest presses, lat pull downs, machine rows, machine shoulder presses, and machine leg presses. So for your Olympic style compound movements like squats, deadlifts, and bench presses, stick to traditional sets where you need more recovery and setup. Implementing myo reps into your program while following the tips I provided early on how to save as much time as possible when it comes specifically to preparing and traveling to the gym means that you could save anywhere between 2 to 10 hours a week of your time, which is the most valuable currency you could have in terms of accomplishing your overall goals. That 2 to 10 hours per week saved is more than enough time to program an entire workout split into your life if you even haven't gotten started yet because of those time constraints. But what does that split look like? Because the last thing that you want to do is lose all the time you just saved by freeing up your schedule to train. This is where most guys get stuck, not because they're lazy or don't want to work hard. If you're here, it's because you are capable of doing the work the best that you can, but you're probably either burnt out from overtraining or your progress is paralyzed by indecision. The best part is, you could still train as many days as you want and get results. It's all dependent on how much volume you want to perform per session and your intensity levels from exercise to exercise. Ideally, you still want to hit each muscle group twice a week because you can get results training once per week, but each muscle group can fully recover within 48 hours of training. So taking a week off in between sessions for one muscle group isn't necessary for your recovery. It also makes it a lot more difficult to make up for a specific workout if you miss a day. For example, if you only train chest on Thursdays and train a different muscle group every other day of the week, you have to wait an entire week just to make up that session. For example, if you only train chest on Thursdays and train a different muscle group every other day per week, if you miss that session, you have to wait an entire week just to make it up, on top of only training it once for that week, which already isn't enough to maximize results in the long term. And this is exactly why I recommend you train between 2 to 3 days per week. In doing this, you'll be able to train each muscle group twice, and you could shorten the workout times of these naturally longer training sessions by incorporating myo reps like we discussed earlier. And lastly, it becomes much easier to make up for a missed workout in the same week without interfering with your recovery. If you have the time to train between 60 and 90 minutes per session, but only have a couple days per week to train, this is where I would highly recommend a 2-day-a-week full body split. You would ideally perform each workout spaced 2 to 3 days out from each other. You can pick whatever days work best for you. If you end up missing a day for whatever reason, you could always make up the workout the following day instead of having to wait another week. This 3-day option also makes it much easier to incorporate the necessary exercise selection needed to hit every single muscle without each workout needing to take over an hour. I'm giving away free workout routines to new members of my free school community, Muscle Truth University. You could apply to join with the link below, and if you send me a DM with your fitness goals, I'll make a program specifically for you. Now you've gotten your workouts down from 4 to 6 days of uncertainty and overtraining to 2 to 3 dedicated sessions. Your workout time is decreased with myo reps, and starting your workout is effortless because you know how to optimize your travel and prep times. I'm going to give you one more piece of advice that could be the difference between saving hours per week or wasting your entire training session. Resting in between sets is non-negotiable. You can't expect to perform your next set at 100% and make progress if you're still recovering from your last lift, because not every single one of your sets can just be done with myo reps. There is no set time that you should rest between each movement, and it does vary from lift to lift and how you feel on that specific day. But I constantly see people at the gym distracted on their phones or talking to another gym goer. It could take up to 5 minutes in between sets they were fully recovered from at a 90-second mark. That's an additional 3 minutes and 30 seconds wasted that could have been used for another 2 to 3 sets. Let's say you wasted an additional 20 minutes of workout sitting around while you were good to go and you train 3 days per week. That's an hour per week wasted, which is over 50 hours for the entire year. 50 plus hours that you could have spent developing your physique instead of complaining that you don't have enough time to get in shape. Hopefully that puts a lot into perspective on how important optimizing for time is in the long term. But how else can you optimize to save even more time on top of everything that we just went over? Because even in the digital age, where this has become easier than ever to manage, this is still something I see 90% of lifters in the gym miss out on completely. And it could very well be the difference between getting results and staying in the same spot from a week to week and eventually a monthly or yearly basis. What isn't monitored isn't managed, and if you're not tracking your workouts and your nutrition, you're missing out on a huge part of the process that only requires a few minutes per day. Tracking your workouts allows you to monitor progressive overload, which is going to be the primary driver for stimulating hypertrophy. If you know exactly what you did last time, you'll know what you need to do next time in order to make progress. Whether that's adding an extra rep or going up in weight, that knowledge is key for being confident in your training without having to spend more time guessing what you need to do next or wondering if you're getting stronger. My go-to app for tracking workouts for free is called Strong. You could find it on the App Store for Apple or Android. Tracking workouts alone isn't enough because your diet is just as important. If you're trying to slim down, you need to be confident you're eating below what your body needs to maintain its current weight, on top of making sure you're eating enough protein to fuel your muscles to grow. If you need help finding your maintenance calories with the lowest margin of error, check out this video. You could easily track everything you're eating with apps like MyFitnessPal and Chronometer, all while working with your existing fitness goals. The best way to make this work in your favor for saving time is to just eat the same meals on a weekly basis. You don't need to eat the exact same 3 meals 7 days a week, but it helps to have a designated day of eating for every day of the week and then stick to it in the long term and just adjust the volume of each ingredient as needed. You could also save a lot more time by meal prepping and designating a specific amount of time every single week to those meals so you don't have to spend as much time cooking and as much time shopping. I'll give you an example of a meal plan that you could use for body recomposition. This assumes the program of a 190-pound man with the goal of losing a pound of fat per week while training to build muscle. So assuming they're eating 2,100 calories per day, which would be a deficit of 500 calories, assuming a state of general inactivity outside of general training. This would be about 190 grams of protein, 230 grams of carbs, and 61 grams of fat. There would be 4 main meals with an optional 5th meal thrown in wherever it is best seen fit. Option 1 would be breakfast. You could have something like eggs, oatmeal, and a banana. Very balanced between the proteins, carbs, and fats like every other meal on this list. This will be about 550 calories. For lunch, we'll have something like prepackaged chicken, rice, and broccoli that could either be meal prepped or bought separately. This would be about 650 calories. Post-workout, it's good to have something like a protein shake, apple, and peanut butter, more balanced macros. And for dinner, we could have something a little bit bigger and more filling, like lean beef with sweet potato and veggies. And then our last snack of the day will be a serving of Greek yogurt and some berries like raspberries, blueberries, or strawberries. To keep progress consistent, every week, take note of weight measurements. So the same day, same time, same conditions. Take progress photos at every point of your journey from the front, side, and back. And then you could even measure your waist to see if you're really slimming down in the way that you want to. If the scale is trending down a ½ pound to 1 pound per week and your lifts are going up or staying the same, you're on track. You're losing fat while building muscle, or at the very least, maintaining muscle. If the scale isn't moving and your lifts are stalling, you need to adjust your calories down slightly or increase your activity levels. Tracking is a low-effort, high-impact mechanism that tells you whether what you're doing is working. Without it, you're left wasting even more time wondering if what you're doing is helping or hurting. Now, what's the final piece that ties everything together? Because without this, you're completely toast. You could have the perfect training program. You could eat the exact amount of macros that you need. You could do all of this in the least amount of time possible, which is the goal here. But if your recovery sucks, you're not going to make progress. Recovery is what turns your training stimulus into actual muscle growth. And for busy professionals, recovery is often the missing piece because it isn't as exciting. Sleep is the foundation of recovery. You need 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night, not 5 to 6. Not 4 to 5 during the week and catching up on the weekend. 7 to 9 hours consistently. Why? Because muscle protein synthesis happens primarily during deep sleep. Testosterone and growth hormone are also released during sleep, which are needed to build muscle. This will also allow your central nervous system to fully recover, which allows you to train hard again. Poor sleep will tank your insulin sensitivity, which makes fat loss much slower regardless of your diet. So how do you optimize it? You could start by programming the same bedtime and wake time every single day, even on weekends. Keep your bedroom cool between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And on top of that, keep it dark and quiet using anything like a white noise filter or an eye mask. Limit screens and blue light 30 to 60 minutes before bed, and limit caffeine 8 hours before you go to bed. If you're only doing one thing from this entire video, prioritize sleep. It's that important. Here's what most people miss with recovery though. It isn't just about sitting on the couch during your off time or going to sleep at the same time every day. Active recovery is super important for your overall health outside of just building muscle and slimming down. This can include anything like light cardio using a 20 to 30 minute walk 3 to 5 days per week, Assuming you can get about 10,000 steps a day, this will also be ideal. Mobility work after training is also super important. This could include anything like 10 to 15 minutes of stretching or even some post-workout foam rolling, because this will all increase blood flow to your muscles, reducing soreness, which makes it easier to have better recovery since you can stay much more active when you're at your best physically. Another super important recovery tool is going to be stress management. If you're chronically stressed from your work, your cortisol levels are elevated. High cortisol means poor recovery, which induces muscle breakdown and increased fat storage. So what do you do to counter this? You could incorporate even more cardio that elevates your heart rate. It'll help get you outside and lower your cortisol levels. This doesn't even have to do with fitness though. Hobbies that relax you, like reading, cooking, and spending time with family, will all help lower stress levels. And the best part about all of this, you don't even have to make time for it. It's all about optimizing the time that you currently have so you don't have to make sacrifices. If you can't find the time to sleep more, cutting down on days trained per week and time per workout allows you to get closer to that 7 to 9 hour range, which is required to grow. When you aren't wondering what foods you need to buy, you're saving time that's easily wasted going to the grocery store and endlessly roaming through the aisles. And if you pair this with meal prepping, you'll have freed up so much time that you won't even have to make any sacrifices on these necessary factors. All of this advice could be applied to anyone's life. The goal here is to build muscle while slimming down in half the amount of time it would have taken you to figure this out all on your own. But with that being said, everyone's life is different, so no two programs will ever be exactly the same. If you want to save even more time and get to your dream body even faster, you can book a free private one-on-one call with me using the link in the description. It's just for me to see if I can help you, and if I can, we'll come up with a game plan that could be implemented yourself or working one-on-one with me. I look forward to working with each and every one of you.